Hello, everybody. Hi, welcome to the
Hello.
stream. We are here with a very special guest today, so we're going to go around and introduce ourselves. But we have a representative from the Advocates for Trans Equality here, which June and I are extremely excited about. So, would you like
Yeah,
to introduce yourself first?
sure. Yeah. Hey, everyone watching. My name is Victoria Foster. I'm the annual fund officer at Advocates for Trans Equality, which is one of the nation's largest trans-led trans rights nonprofits. We were founded actually in 2024. As a result of the merger between two different trans rights nonprofits called the Transgender Legal Defense and Education Fund and the National Center for Transgender Equality. They merged last year, combining 20 years of experience on each end to join this new organization. We provide services to trans people in all 50 states. We litigate on behalf of trans people. We advocate for trans people in legislatures across many states and in Congress in Washington, D.C. We advise all sorts of different organizations and companies and nonprofits for better practices and how they treat trans people, and a whole slew of other stuff in which I'm happy to chat about today. And I look forward to chatting about today and answering any questions about any of the services that we provide or any of the work that we do. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop talking so you two can introduce yourselves too.
Oh no, my gosh, thank you for all the info. Um, yeah, June, do you want to introduce yourself for today?
Sure. My name is June. I am a digital artist. I am trans Korean American. And yeah, I really wanted to do this campaign because this month in particular, I think there's a lot of concerns that people have with what's going to come up and what's to come. So I feel like this is the perfect time to give some sense of like hope so that it's not just despair and doom scrolling for like the foreseeable future. So yeah, I'm really happy that it's been going really well so far and that you've joined us. Thank you so much again, Victoria. Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and if you don't know me, my name's River Kai. I use he, him pronouns. I'm an LGBTQ plus author and artist. I am also trans, so it was very special to me to be able to support the Advocates for Trans Equality as a trans-led organization. That's just so cool. And I also
Mhm.
knew about them before this exciting merger. I'm just I feel very lucky to have a chance to be able to support in some way and get involved somehow because I definitely really believe in the work that you all do, and I love that you have so many resources available to everybody. Yes, I'm very excited to be here and be doing this today. Oh, thank you for the raid, Kai with the star. Oh my gosh, how did your stream go? Thanks for the raid. Um, yeah, so I think that we wanted to get started chatting about some of the resources so that people in chat could access it and also hear about it and learn a little bit more about what the Advocates for Trans Equality does. We are still donating currently to the Advocates for Trans Equality all month long. It will say the National Center for Transgender Equality up at the top, but as Victoria mentioned, there was recently a merger, which is extremely exciting to make expand the efforts between both companies. So right now you can visit that link in the chat. It's also pinned at the top, and we're supporting them all month long. So with all of our streams. So, um, yeah, we can chat about maybe some of the resources that you feel like would be uh, most exciting to share with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll just sort of expand upon our organization a little bit more in that, like, as a trans rights nonprofit, we do both advocacy for trans people, like I said, like in courts and in government and things like that, but we are also advocating for trans people through direct services. And so if you are trans and you are watching this stream and you're interested in in advancing certain aspects of your transition, so for me that looks like changing my name, changing my gender marker on my birth certificate and my driver's license and my passport, and all of that just involves so many different steps, right? Like if you change your name, you have to get a lawyer, you have to pay some fees, you have to, and I live in the state of New York, so all of this is state dependent as well. So you have to know what your specific state, like what the policies are in your state, what the laws are in your state. And so it can just be really confusing and it can be really expensive and it can be really timely to change your name with the government. And then you have to change your name with all sorts of different other organizations. You have to change it with your cell phone company and with your energy companies and like your landlord and all these different places. And so it can be a really daunting experience to go through these different things. And so one of our big resources is really just our website, transequality.org, wherein you can find resources such as the first thing that I'll point folks to, which is what's called our ID Document Center. So if you know what, I'm also in the chat and I'm personally logged into okay, River Kai, you just posted it too, but I'll specifically link to, that's me, with transequality.org /documents. This
Oh
is
shoot.
our ID Document Center. This is where if you scroll down, you can see this section for name change, driver's license, and birth certificate policies in every single state of the United States. And so, like, for example, I live in New York. So if I click on New York, it gives an overview of New York's name change laws, how to change your driver's license, like your gender marker, your name, how to update on your benefits card, on your municipal ID card in the city, birth certificates. I mean, in both the state and in New York City. So there's just a wealth of resources that's completely for free on our website that is really bespoke. And you don't even have to reach out to anybody. You don't have to get on the phone. You don't have to email anybody. All of this resources is right here. You can access it confidentially. You don't need to do anything through the mail. If you're just looking, for example, on how to update your ID in a place such as Guam, like our website is able to help you with that. And so that's just one example. I mean, I could keep running down these different things. Like, for example, late last year, we just released our trans legal survival guide, which is really important in this new era that we are entering into, wherein it's never been safe to be a trans person in this country or in any country in the modern history of humanity, but it is a unique time in that we are really in the crosshairs of lots of forms of power in legal and government. So the Trans Legal Survival Guide is really to keep people aware of what their rights are. It's a very long, it's not very long, it's just 17 pages. But if you have a criminal record, if you need to, if you're an immigrant that needs to naturalize in the United States, if you are trying to make healthcare decisions with like power of attorney and all these different things, like these are very like nuanced, sort of difficult to understand legal issues for anybody, but specifically for a trans person, and how our transness intersects with these issues and with the uniqueness of these issues. And so things like the ID Document Center, the Trans Legal Survival Guide, our name change project, which offers free name change services with lawyers in 5 different states of the country. All of these different services can take these really difficult to understand, potentially expensive sort of things that in our very individualistic country you have to do on your own. We're here to support each other with resources and by getting you tapped in with lawyers and with the correct ways of doing different things to make sure that you can live the life that you want to live. Like every time I used to, for example, go for a flight and I had to show my ID under my old name and under my old gender ID, that could have been that was a really terrible experience, like every single time. But after I got it changed, I'm throwing it in everybody's face because they can't take it away from me anymore. It says Victoria Foster on my ID. It says F in my sex designation. Like, they can't take that back from me. I've got that, and I've sealed the documentation. So in this era of, uncertainty and potential dangers, it can be really easy to catastrophize, but I think it's really effective to do what we can. And what we can is to log on to transequality.org, figure out how to change the things that we want to change, update the things that we need to update, and equip ourselves with resources and power that we have right now that they haven't taken away from us yet. And so I'd say that if there was one thing that I wanted folks to take away from that, it's that we have a lot of power right now. We've got a big national organization that's here to support you and is here to help you change the documentation that you need to change and get you registered to vote and to know your rights in all sorts of different areas of life. And so to access all that information, head to transequality.org. And I've been rambling for a little bit, so I want to just step back and
No, that's
if
all.
you two have any questions, or if anybody from the chat has any questions.
Yeah, I think it would be great to actually like go through some of the website together while we um, discuss any of these questions because those were like so many valuable resources.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, let's check it out. So this is the ID Documents Center that Victoria was referencing. Oh yeah, and then here, like right on this page, is the Trans Legal Survival Guide, so we could check that out really quickly. Oh yes.
And yeah, you would just download the report, and it sort of just opens up with like a question, like, do you have a criminal record? And then it just kind of goes through and answers those questions, like, and
Wow.
does that for various different specific issues that trans people may face in this country. And so, like, if you're looking to get naturalized, if you have a criminal record, if you're in a situation where you're legally precarious, this document can provide legal advice without you needing to seek an attorney or anything like that.
It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I love how specific some of these things are because that is what can be really challenging legally when it's like you have such a specific, like everyone has such specific circumstances for them and their lives that might not be like as easily accessible to just look up and figure out how to navigate like some of
Yeah.
these more challenging legal things that I mean personally I always feel like it's purposefully kind of confusing the way that laws are set up so it can be very hard for people to like figure these types of things out. So I just think this is so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're really on the nose with that. I think that they've left us on our own for long enough on purpose, like you say, and they make it really difficult and really expensive and impossible to do on our own, and we're required to do it on our own, right? They don't like folks in power that seek to do harm to trans people. They're not going to make it any easier on us right now, and certainly not over the next 4 years. So
Mm-hmm.
staying tapped in with organizations on the national level like A4TE to understand big picture issues and how they can affect our lives, and resources like this is critical, but also getting tapped into your local organizations. Advocates for Trans Equality partners with over 2,000 local organizations across the country to share resources, to align ourselves on messaging strategy, to let these local resources know, like, we've got this big website with all of these different resources for your state. Can you add anything to us, and can we add anything to you? And just creating this national information sharing network to defend ourselves, because at the end of the day, as you pointed out, River Kai, like, we have our own, like, we have to defend our own, we have to have this time. And it's, I know that I work for A4TE and I'm here to spread the good message of A4TE. But one of the genuinely fantastic things about this organization is how we build power, not just amongst ourselves, but across the country with local partner organizations that work in regions of the country and have expertise in regions of the country that we just would never be able to have with the current size of our team and the budget that we're trying to grow, thanks to folks like you who fundraise for us and help us add more staff and to address more issues across the country. But for the time being, as we are still growing and still trying to get staff in every single region of the country, we're boosting and promoting these other organizations that will have more resources and more localized interventions that everybody watching can get involved in alongside they're getting involved with these more national issues that A4TE will bring to light.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing all this, like, such valuable information for it's so awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which thing that I certainly want to look at together. Um, June, you're free to pitch in on this. One thing that amazed me, because I hadn't seen this before, but the Trans Health
Mhm.
Project, like, this is like
Mhm.
a whole massive resource in and of itself. Yeah, hang on. I have to switch which screen I'm showing because it popped out into a different one. Here we go. Yeah, there's just so much packed in here that is just really cool, and like you said, it just could apply to so many different people when it's just like specific to different states. Um,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like I was just saying, and like you were saying, I mean, it's every aspect of our experience that they try to individualize and make as complicated and as
Mhm.
difficult to access as possible, and that goes from documentation to health insurance. And our Trans Health Project is critical in helping people understand how to navigate health insurance. So, for example, I have been trying to get covered for facial feminization surgery for like 3 years now, and I
Mm,
continue to get denied that by my insurer on the
Mhm.
basis that it is cosmetic, which is obviously not true. It is medically
Mhm.
necessary. And through an appeals process, insurers will eventually concede that it is medically necessary. They will just fight you until the very last moment
Mhm.
until they finally approve your claim for example, something that is notoriously as not insurable as facial feminization surgery. And so our trans health insurance tutorial helps navigate folks through the appeals process. Here's a template for how to write your first appeal and your second appeal and your third appeal because they all require different things. Your first appeal
Mhm.
requires a letter from your doctor, and the second appeal requires a doctor and a psychiatric care doctor as well. Like there's different things that different insurance companies need, and if you're just on your own googling all these different things, it can feel impossible to get a grip on what you're supposed to do. So, like, this is another great resource that you've just brought attention to, in that we don't have to be alone. We don't have to be searching for these things on our own, just Googling in the wind, trying to navigate this morass of confusion. You know, A4TE's got a lot of great resources like this to make us all feel less alone and to make us feel more empowered. And you know, the more that folks give and support our work, the more we can grow these things, because health insurance and documentation, they're not the only confusing, alienating aspects of the trans life. You know, there's many more regions of life that we want to navigate into and that we want to grow, and everybody's support makes that more possible, puts us in more regions of the country, adds more programs that we can provide resources to trans people, and helps us advocate for trans people in legal levels, in government levels, all across the country. So, um, yeah, that's my pitch again for
yeah.
everybody to continue
No,
to
No.
support.
that's amazing because, yeah, as a disabled person too, like, I understand, of course, how difficult insurance always has been. But
Mhm.
a lot of people who aren't in that community already chatting about it don't even know that they can send an appeal for these things. Like, they just think that's it. Like, they have a rejection and that's, they don't have,
Right.
and then that can feel like such a hopeless feeling. So even just showing, like, hey, you can appeal this, you can continue to appeal this, like,
Yeah.
and keep trying to fight for what you know is right for yourself. That's really incredible. So
Yeah. And there's so much power in the insurers holding the messaging that A denial
Mhm.
is a denial, which is not true. But you
Mhm.
don't get taught that in school. There's no way to know that
Mhm.
intuitively unless an organization like A4TE exists to somehow get into your periphery and let you know, hey, your denial is not just a denial. It's not the end of the road. Your appeal is not just, something that you can, nobody wants to invest a bunch of time into an appeal and then just get denied. Like, you don't want to just waste your time fighting against a system where you're not going to make any progress. We're here to let you know you can make progress via these appeals. It's not just a dead end. When they tell you that it's a cosmetic surgery, don't get dejected, don't get discouraged, and don't believe them. It's not a cosmetic surgery. It's medically necessary. You deserve that care. And we want to fight for people to get that care because to transition into another aspect of our work, which is our litigation work, we sued the big health insurer Aetna late last year to
Oh.
try and force them to provide facial feminization surgery to their clients because they have notoriously not even acquiesced to the appeals process when they are supposed to. And so we have taken them to court about this, given that we had enough folks try to access Aetna insurance. Oh no. Well, you
Sorry.
seem to have you seem to have
I
become an
accidentally
issue.
put
It looks
I
like
put an apostrophe at the end.
no,
I'm so
you're good.
sorry.
In any event, like it's so like even when we try to navigate through the system to the best of our abilities and the system still rejects us, we are not satisfied with that rejection. We will take them to court and we will fight that. And again, not to make this pitch, I'm a fundraiser, so forgive me, but when people give and when people support, it's both the programs, it's both more education about health insurance, but also more tools in our resources to expand health insurance in the courts themselves. When you support us, you're supporting both. And so that's the unique aspect about our work. We're not just a services organization, we're not just an advocacy organization. We do both of those things because we know that that's the best way to fight for our folks right now in this critical moment.
Thank you
No,
so
it's
much.
actually like it's really funny you mentioned like Etna and just like insert my own like personal stories because my family and I used to be on Etna like many years ago, and then um this was like during like the Obama like administration, but like I remember at one point when I was in my transition and Aetna actually wanted me off of the insurance. And they didn't explicitly say because I was trans, but I remember I was on the phone call with them and my mom, and they were saying we can provide healthcare for like the rest of the family, but just not for me. Um, and my mom was like, "That's ridiculous." And
Ew,
so
that's gross.
we just left Etna, and basically so they just kicked us off because essentially I was trans. And I remember like this is a different story but related to like the claims and like the appeals and everything, but because thankfully I have a very good I go to this very good doctor or medical center. I don't know if you've heard of Mazzoni because I'm based in Pennsylvania. They're
Yeah.
like a yeah, they're a very big LGBTQA medical center, very fantastic. And there was one point where, for whatever reason, like 7+ years after I've already been on testosterone, they just suddenly decided that it wasn't a medically necessary thing that they wanted to cover for some reason. And my doctor was like, why are you suddenly like rejecting this claim? And so thankfully my doctors like fought for me like really like hard, and took care of the appeals process and everything. But I could not get testosterone again for like 3+ months. But thankfully my doctor, like they just gave me like enough testosterone to get by. But it was like a whole battle, and just it was so frustrating. But and if it wasn't for my doctors, I could not have imagined. I would have just taken that rejection, honestly.
Hmm.
So it's really awesome that you guys are there and like you guys have this resource and you guys can do that. And man, yeah, if I had known beforehand that you guys even existed, because I just learned about you guys from River. um but this is just so awesome, and I hope more people can like get to know about you guys so that more people can be helped and not so lost in situations like that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, and I'm so sorry that you had to go through that illegal and discriminatory practice that Aetna subjected you and your family to. That is the kind of thing that A4TE is trying to grow and trying to fight, because discriminatory practices are so rampant against trans people in
Yeah.
the country, and especially along the lines of health insurance. That So we sued the states of Georgia and Tennessee across
Oh.
2022 and 2023 because their state employee health benefits program excluded medical care for transgender people along similar lines to what you're describing that Aetna, a private insurer, did. And
Mhm.
we were able to sue those states and win, granting access to healthcare to hundreds of thousands of Georgians. And that healthcare
That's so
now
cool.
includes trans affirming healthcare. And so just, it's not, it used to be that there was no resources anywhere and nobody was fighting for us. And it's not the
Mhm.
opposite now where, we're winning every fight and we all know what to do. And we're not in this perfect place right now. And it's difficult to be in this in between place. We all want to be in the perfect place where everything is fine and health insurance is free and it's accessible and we can transition as much as we would like to. But it's easy to just get caught up in, oh, we're not there yet. What's the
Mhm.
point? Like, it's so depressing. But like, we are getting there. And you describe it well. Like, A4TE didn't used to exist to fill in those gaps and to fight for
Mhm.
people like that. And A4TE, knock on wood, will continue to grow in the future to
Yes.
the point where we are closer to that future that we all deserve, and that more, I mean, for lack of a better term, utopian future maybe that we can get to if we get together and we combine our resources and we stand together. And so, your personal story just lends more reason as to the importance of this work and why it's important for us to talk, for us three to talk, for the chat to talk, for us in the trans community, for us to all exchange resources, chat, support each other financially, mentally, with conversations, with resources, and all these different things, because we can build power together and we can get to that place that we want to get to. And so, I just continue to be so grateful that both of you wanted to raise this money for A4TE and have me on the stream today, because it's an example of, how we fight back in this moment that can feel so hopeless. So, yeah, thank you both.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely like our absolute pleasure, like we were saying before, and
Yeah.
something that we couldn't do without our community as well. So definitely thank you everyone in the chat who has been so supportive.
Seriously.
We have our own mini campaign and the bigger campaign, but I think overall in the team campaign, it just shows the like impact that when we all join together to do something together, we can make an even bigger difference because we've already raised $590 in just over a week, and that's so exciting. Like, it's just something that
Mhm.
June and I were like, oh my gosh, like even if we just raise a little, like at least we tried. So yeah, thank you to everybody who has been getting involved. There's a lot of people in the chat, like Kai with the Star, who's also been streaming, and
Yeah.
also the mods in the chat have been helping out and volunteering. So it's just really cool. And like, it's cool that this community in a way has learned to become so interconnectedly supportive like this. Because we've had to be that way, but it's also just kind of really touching to be. So it's really
Mhm.
special to be part of something like that. So thank you, everybody. Yeah. Huh.
and, and I kind of mentioned it either before our call or before we went live or earlier. The Twitch community has stood with us for so long. I mean, for
Mhm.
Mhm.
years before my bosses even knew what Twitch was.
Oh.
We were getting donations by the thousands, and it's a
Wow, that's
testament
awesome.
to how, like, this website, for all of its faults, of which there are many, allows people to come together in ways that is truly remarkable, and to rally together on common interests and exchange that information that we were just talking about and stand with each other. So thank you for continuing that legacy and
Oh.
for fundraising and starting off this year like, the timing could not be any better. Like, you're the first Twitch fundraiser of the year, so way to get in and
Yay.
get that
Yay!
fundraising going for the year. So thank you so much.
Oh
Of
yeah.
course.
That's so exciting. Oh my gosh. Yeah, again, chat. The link is in the chat right now in case you haven't seen it yet. I know that a lot of people are financially strained right now, so just
Yeah.
sharing about this with someone who might be able to share it with someone else. Oh, sounds like we did just get a donation. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Thank you
snap.
so much, Chocolate Rebel. Thank you for donating
Oh,
$15. Oh, now we are like $5 away from our next milestone, which is very exciting. Thank you so much,
oh
Chocolate
my gosh.
Rebel. That was so sweet of
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And like, I just to continue to just sort of expand on like what you're supporting, in this year, like I just said, A4TE was really just founded last year as the merger was just completed last year. The merger went through with no layoffs, so basically the size of an organization doubled, and we're now a national organization with over 50 people. Our rank and file staff are unionized. I'm one of the staff union delegates. So our staff are paid at a rate that is above industry average. We have a largely trans staff, a seriously competent and expert staff with leaders in education, healthcare, state policy, federal policy, healthcare policy. And so in all these different areas, we've got these industry leaders, and so many of them are other trans people. So when you support us, you're supporting these programs, which are great on their own. But I just want to let people know that these programs aren't just staffed by people who might mean well but don't really know what they're doing, or they're staffed by, these outsiders who are just trying to make money off of our community. No, these are community members who have been in this industry for a very long time. They know what they're doing. We're charting a course for 2025 that seeks to defend us right now as we're going to be under attack. So by supporting us, you're supporting our pre-existing staff, allowing us to expand further. We're hiring staff in Texas, in California, in Florida, in Alabama. We're hiring staff in these target areas in which we currently don't have staff. And every single time somebody donates $5, $10, $15, it really, really does add up. And it allows us to expand those initiatives further. So yeah, just thank you all so much for your support. It's really going to make all of our lives at least a little bit better amidst what we all know is coming.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad that it is just so cool to have to be able to support so many trans people who are working for the trans community in this way too. So that's just a very unique but amazing, incredible opportunity. So thank you again, Chocolate Rebel. Yeah, that brings me to a few questions that we might have. I don't know if you would like to, if you have any that you're thinking of first, June. I don't want to steal your
Oh, no,
potential.
go for it. We have a whole list to go through, so we're good.
Yeah, we do. But we don't have to get through them all. So,
Mhm.
let's see, which I feel like this kind of applies to what we were just talking about, which is what we're making me think about it. So, what do you find to be the most used resource or the biggest concern that people tend to come to A4TE for?
Hmm. I mean, it's because we've already gone over how many different programs we have and how many different service areas we represent. So it's really tough to even compare like what the traffic would be for healthcare resources or name change resources or anything like that. I mean, I think that the ID Document Center, I mean, I always lead off with that because it's so relevant, and it's information that if you're American and you live in one of the 50 states or one of the territories, like you can find a resource that is relevant to your life in this ID Document Center. And so to me, it's my most referred to resource. It's I just think it applies to all of us who have some sort of relationship to the United States government. If you need to update your immigration documents or your birth certificates, anything, it all exists here. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. I think that another aspect of our work that I haven't really talked about, and it was especially relevant at the end of the year last year, is our elections work. We registered hundreds of trans people to vote across the country. We have we released a Know Your Rights report so that trans people can know their rights in the polling place. So if you're worried that you might get discriminated because your gender identity doesn't match what's on your driver's license and you have to present some form of ID at the voting booth, we've got all sorts of resources to help you understand what your rights are with the Voting While Trans Guide. So yeah, I mean that's that was a big resource that we liked to extend to folks at the end of the year last year. We also endorsed a whole slew of candidates ahead of the 2024 elections, not just on the national level, but letting people know about all sorts of different trans people that were running for office across the country for all sorts of different levels, be it local or state. These are trans affirming, transgender folks who are representing our best interests around the country. And so this was also another widely accessed resource towards the end of the year last year. So, yeah, tough to really quantify which is the most used, but I think that they're all so critical, and they all provide such great information that I think they're all pretty popular.
That's so cool. Yeah, I hadn't even seen this, but that was also because we were looking after the elections, pouring through the website, like, oh, where are all these cool resources that they have? That's so exciting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for sharing all these incredible resources.
Absolutely.
June, do you have a particular question in mind?
Yeah, actually, this is kind of like it's a more personal question, but like, how did you yourself find A4TE? How did you find yourself coming to work for A4TE, and your personal story in that?
Yeah, sure. So I went to school for art history, which is not,
Yeah.
that was the kind of major that made my parents cry and made them, hem and haw and fear for my life. And I basically wanted to. When I was in college, I knew that I didn't mind working a desk job as long as it was just for something that I cared about. And I just kind of thought,
Mhm.
I will try to work at an art museum or some sort of, museum. And I don't care if I'm just doing customer service or accounting or something like that. Like, at least I'll be doing it for something that I care about. And so I moved
Mhm.
to New York City, God, almost a decade ago, and started
Mhm.
working for art museums in and around the city for a couple of years. And then basically just, that experience granted me some customer service experience in the nonprofit industry that allowed me to join the Transgender Legal Defense and Education Fund back in 2022. And then, of course, TILDEF, the Transgender Legal Defense and Education Fund, merged to become A4TE last year. And now I find myself working for one of the nation's largest trans rights nonprofits. So, yeah, I went
So
from,
awesome.
because TILDEF was a great national organization, but I knew about it because they would help my friends in the New York City area get our names changed. I got my name changed through TILDEF's Name Change Project, which provides free name change service to trans folks in New York City. And I knew TILDEF through that, but for TILDEF to grow from, not a small local organization, but a smaller, more local organization to this large national leader in trans rights, sort of all in the 2 years that I've been there. It's been a wild ride, but I've been so grateful for it, and it's been so exciting.
That's so cool. I love that so much. Oh man. Yeah, art history. I actually have a friend who's about to apply for grad schools to art history. for the art history major too.
It's one of the two. You either like start working at the ground level at a museum or
Yeah,
something like that, or you go to grad school.
she seems excited for it though, so I'm happy for her.
Oh, that's great. Good
Um,
for her.
yeah. River, did you have another one you wanted to share? We can go back and forth on this. Oh, are you muted, River?
I was muted. That was why. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you're
Okay, I
good. You're
was like,
good.
oh my god, the lag. I was just saying, by the way, chat, if you would like to ask any questions, feel free. We'll try to get to your questions as well. But yeah, I definitely have more questions. I'm curious if there has been like a certain day that was the most memorable for you working thus far, working at A4TE. I know that that can have multiple connotations because there's been a lot of very memorable things that were like ups and downs, but I'm curious what that brings to mind for you.
That is a great question. Gosh, so much has happened over the time that I have been involved with this place.
Oh,
It
I'm
is,
sure.
um, I think a seminal moment for me was at the start, almost this time last year, was when we learned that the merger was happening. We um, just sort of like the rest, like the decision had been made, like the boards of directors at both organizations had voted to merge. And we all showed up in a Zoom room with like 25 new coworkers. And it was just like kind of a whirlwind. And it was a bit all over the place. But there is an annual conference called Creating Change that is this big conference where lots of LGBTQ movement folks sort of go to. Either they're activists where they work for nonprofits or foundations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And our two separate organizations were already planning on going. And so just days after we had learned about the merger, we go to this conference and we represent this brand new company, or not company, but this brand new nonprofit that was called Advocates for Trans Equality. And we're all meeting each other for the first time. And honestly, it was really, really cool to get to meet all my talented new coworkers, to get to talk about A4TE with all these different movement people from across the country. And it was just really memorable because it was one of those moments when you're like, wow, everything is going to change. Like everything is changing right now. Like we are going from this sort of smaller team to this big team in this big pivotal moment with a lot of eyeballs on us. And it can be a bit stressful and it can be kind of intimidating, but just getting to meet the other people that I was going to be standing next to in that process, it makes it less intimidating to stand with other people and to be in community with other talented and caring folks. And so, yeah, I would say that would be my favorite memory of my time here so far. We are also a 100% remote workplace, so it was a rare opportunity to get to have FaceTime with my coworkers, and so I'll remember that fondly for a long time.
Oh, that's so sweet. And I love that you're all working remotely. That's like so nice.
Yeah, I mean, when we signed our union contract, it was COVID, and we wanted to guarantee that we would be able to work 100% remotely, no matter if COVID existed or COVID didn't exist. Because I think, as everybody knows, the pandemic is still ongoing and is still quite a threat to all of us. And so, our union rights enabling us to stay 100% remote and keep all of us working remotely is, something that we're really excited about and really proud of, and makes all of our lives easier and healthier, that we don't have to, put ourselves at risk.
Yeah, oh my gosh. That's really incredible. And also not having to commute is so nice. And better for the environment. So that's really
Gosh,
cool.
very true. Yeah.
um, yeah, June, do you have any further questions? Chat, again, you're welcome to input any questions you'd like before Victoria has to leave us soon. But thank you again,
Mhm.
Victoria, for answering all our questions as well. It's exciting to get to hear more about what we've all been supporting. So,
Yeah, my pleasure.
yeah, again, if you'd like to visit, I'm gonna I'm gonna pin a new thing because I accidentally had a typo where I did the wrong apostrophe moment. But you can visit transequality.org to learn more about the advocates for trans equality and what we're looking at the moment. There we go.
And on our website, you'll find our social media. If you're an Instagram person, even we all know how horrific Meta is and how horrific Mark Zuckerberg is turning out to be. But if you are still participating in a Meta platform, you can find us on Instagram at Trans Equality Now. I'd say that's probably our most used social media now, but I rest assured we are evaluating if that will continue to be the best move going forward. We're definitely having those conversations, but right now I'd say that's still the best place to find us at this specific moment.
Right.
Okay.
I know. My concern is that like this is where we all built up a community and so much momentum that it's like an effort to split us apart. That's my personal concern. So, but I also don't want people to feel unsafe. I don't know what to do either. It's a difficult scenario.
Yeah.
But
we kind of have like a question related to social media, just because with a lot of social media, with how they shadow ban like specific terms that they see, like I don't know if you like did you guys have trouble like advertising yourselves on social media because of that, or like have you encountered that kind of like censorship, and like how do you guys work around that, like because it's kind of hard when social media is like a big source of information for people nowadays, you know?
Yeah, and I think something that you alluded to is that we all know what's happening, but it's very difficult to pin down evidence and like hold like people accountable and hold the algorithm, accountable for all of that. So I can't sit here and say officially that we have had reach issues because of the nature of our work, but I think all of us would sort of say, yeah, the same sort of issues that afflict all trans creators, all people that are trying to spread good information about our community, is certainly running into issues even before these recent changes, as you alluded to, like the shadow bans were already happening. The sort of algorithmic struggles that you would enter just by putting any sort of trans-related hashtags or keywords into anything, that was definitely already happening, and now it's just happening a little bit more loudly. So, yeah, and again, I'm not on our social team. If one of them were on here, I'm sure that they could say definitively, like, yeah, X, Y, and Z happened. These are our KPIs, and they went down accordingly. But, I just know offhandedly, like, yeah, they don't make it any easier on you just because you're verified and you're like a 501c3. They just, if anything, they might make it even harder because you've got more visibility.
But then, are you able to advertise in other ways? Like, do you guys actually go out, like, I don't know, like walk on the streets and like advertise yourselves that way, like the old-fashioned way, kind of? Or how else, besides like social media, do you guys advertise yourselves?
Yeah, so our offices are located in, we've got two offices, one in Washington, D.C. and one in New York City. Our Washington, D.C. office participates in lots of in-person actions in and around Washington, D.C. So when the Supreme Court case was happening in December, that Supreme Court case called Skermeti, which was reviewing child access to trans-affirming healthcare for children in Tennessee, that many are worrying may be a precursor to a national ban on transgender healthcare for children. When that Supreme Court case is being heard in December, we both had lawyers in the building, but we also had organizers out in the streets waving flags, trying to get people to show up and spread the word that we exist. And so, this event that you can see right here, the Utah Pride Festival, we were there spreading the word about that too. I go to lots of different events in the New York City area to spread the word in person about what we do. So, yeah, I mean, we've got a small team, but we are spread out nationally. We've got folks in California, Utah, Texas, Alabama, Florida, Ohio. We've got people all across the country that are putting in the legwork to spread word of mouth outside of social media. We're just trying to keep growing. And again, not to make the pitch for the upteenth time, but when you give and support, you do help us make it easier for us to spread word of mouth so that we don't have to use things like
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg's stupid app.
Yes.
Seriously. Oh, good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we've said this in previous streams, but if you would like to donate directly to A4TE and show us that you're welcome to like grab an incentive that way because it does give them a little bit more. There are some fees taken out, just like some very small fees taken out through Tiltify. So if you want to donate directly, that would be much appreciated as well. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, that's something I've definitely run into many times for social media wise because I had a YouTube channel that I was working on and just kind of fizzled out because YouTube kind of got extremely homophobic and transphobic in like 2016, and
Mm.
Instagram blocked hashtags starting around that time, like LGBTQ plus one, and now people are starting to notice. I'm like, okay, it's been happening. Like they've been terrible this whole time. So like I don't know. It's just now they're so loud about it that it's even worse. It's like,
Hmm.
Truly.
uh, um, yeah. I'm trying to think of what question because yeah, YouTube did kill off so many queer channels. Chocolate Rebel, including mine. It's so sad. Um, oh my god.
Very
Yeah.
sorry to hear that.
It's okay. I'm trying to work on it. I'm making a new one. Yeah,
Probably time for
so
one more.
we do have one more question before you probably have to go in 5 minutes. Uh, is there anything that you wait, June? I can't see the full question. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
what am I in the
Okay, it
way? I'm
fixed it.
sorry.
It was your little cursor. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I should have just had you ask the question.
That
Um,
you're right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
is there anything that you would like to say, Victoria, to community members looking for some hope today? I know that's kind of a difficult question, but just personally, just anything you would like to share?
Yeah, I mean, I think if someone's watching that's been tuned in the entire stream, this may sound a little redundant, but I do think that it is so scary right now, and it is so difficult not to catastrophize just because we both know that something really bad is about to come, but we don't really know the details of it. We don't know what is going to happen. I can't even lend any advice as to what people should do or how they should prepare, other than using the resources that we've talked about today. If you need to update your driver's license or your passport, your immigration documents, or whatever, head to our ID document center and update those things. If you're an eligible resident of one of our 5 service areas for the name change project, head to the name change project and get your name changed as well. If you are looking to access health insurance if you need to get a trans affirming surgery, if you need to get trans affirming hormones and you're having denials or you're having a tough time choosing which health insurance carrier you should go with, head to our Trans Health Project and we can help you navigate those things too. Hope doesn't always look like the big, flashy, warm hug that we always want it to be. Sometimes hope just looks like a website full of resources and Excel spreadsheets and, just information to help you feel less alone and less alienated in this big, scary moment because they want to alienate us. They want us to feel alone. They want us to feel ostracized, and they want us fighting each of these battles on our own. But when we come together and we have Twitch fundraisers and we chat about different services that trans people can tap into, when A4TE partners with over 2,000 different local organizations across the country to change resources, to exchange resources, to align on messaging strategy and things like that. When our lobbyists come into Washington, D.C. and partner up with lobbyists from other organizations and try to get in and convince lawmakers to do the right thing and to stand with trans rights. All of these are examples of hope, of ways that we can get together and we can buck this trend that they want to enact, which is making us feel more alone, making us more atomized, making us fight these battles on our own. I hope that if you've watched today that you can leave this stream alone and feeling like you don't have to fight these battles on your own. They want to make you feel that way, but you don't have to feel that way. You've got a national organization that's here to fight with you, to get your ID documents updated, to give you the trans legal resources that you need to navigate precarious situations related to immigration, marriage, all sorts of different things, to help you navigate the health insurance marketplace, to help you get your name changed. And in all these different areas, we can equip ourselves to be more prepared and stronger heading into this year. And we have to do that because it is going to be a difficult year. But just because something's difficult isn't reason to lose hope. I think that there's plenty of reasons to hope. And, we've outlined some of those reasons today. I think the very existence of this conversation, of your chat, of folks being excited to see each other, that is hope enough, that we can stand together and we can get through this. So to all of that, thank you both so much for having me on today and for fundraising for A4TE, for creating the communities that you've created. And, we can get through all of this together if we keep creating these communities and we keep talking to each other and we keep being excited to see each other and we keep fundraising and we keep standing together. So, yeah, thank you both so much.
Oh, thank you so much,
No,
Victoria.
thank
That was
you.
so sweet and so well said. Um, and
Seriously.
and thank you so much just for taking the time to share about the Advocates for Trans Equality with us and your personal journey with like how the merger has gone and with your community around you. It's just such a valuable resource, and thank you for helping us share about it and hear more about it. We just so admire all the work that you're doing. So thank you for working hard to make it happen.
Hmm.
Can't thank you enough. So again, if you'd like to visit the Advocates for Trans Equality website that we've been checking out today, feel free to go to transequality.org. Is there anything else that you would like to say, Victoria, before I know you have to leave? So
Yeah.
No, I think you did a great job of continuing to promote our work, and I hope that folks continue to tune in throughout the rest of your fundraiser for the rest of this month. Thank you again so much for not just fundraising today, but for every day this month, or for as many streams as you will be streaming this month. So, just thank you again for that. If folks need me, you can find me in chat at Tori's
Yeah.
all right, but if you need to email me, you can feel free to email me at vfoster@transequality.org. I'll go ahead and I'll type that into the chat as well. If
okay.
Yes.
anybody wants to host their own fundraiser, if you have questions about our work, if you need anything at all, I'm here to make it a little bit more accessible. And yeah, thank you again so much for having me on. And yeah, I hope you all have a great rest of your stream and have a great rest of your day.
Oh, thank you,
It's been amazing to
Victoria.
have you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
We so
my
appreciate
pleasure.
you taking the time to do this. So thank you.
My
Hope you have a
pleasure.
wonderful day.
Yeah, you too. Bye,
Take
everybody.
care. Bye.
Bye.
Oh,
Yay.
that was so sweet. Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
We
Um,
are still here. We are
yeah,
still streaming.
we're
But
gonna
yeah,
take some
just wanted
time
to
to continue to
reset up.
stream.
Yes.
Sorry, did I interrupt you again?
No, no, no. I'm just like, did we want to, did you want to pause the stream for a hot sec to reconfigure the stream setup or?
Yeah, so I think we should probably try to we have a couple different milestones that we want to um kind of work
Thank
through
you
and
for
make
being
sure.
here. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, we've reached the $100 milestone and we're $5 away from the next one. We also have some little doodle requests as incentives,
Yeah.
so we could always work on that. Or we could continue playing The Sims. So we have some options, but we're gonna probably switch back to the starting soon screen and reconvene because we have to like reset up our stream really quickly. So we'll be back in about 5 minutes or so.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Okay. Yes, and thanks B for visiting. It was really sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. stream over. Oh god, did I break it? I didn't. Oh, thank god I was already on the... Oh, hi.